running from love. As the clock struck 6, guests began to arrive at the castle. The end of summer brought a golden autumn glow, with the last rays of sunlight streaming through the grand windows, casting intricate patterns on the polished maple floors. The symphony played an elegant melody, setting the perfect atmosphere. Everything was picture perfect. From where Ivo stood, hidden behind the thick velvet curtains, he peeked out at the grand hall. Laughter and soft chatter filled the space as noble ladies arrived, their gowns shimmering under the golden chandeliers. One by one, each lady was introduced by the herald, stepping into the castle with grace and beauty, each hoping to be the one chosen by the youngest prince. Their families whispered excitedly, their ambitions wrapped in hope, praying their daughters would catch the prince's eye. Ivo watched, his heart sinking. For the first time he felt truly out of place, like he did not belong to this world. He sighed. Waiters moved elegantly through the hall, carrying trays of champagne and platters of delicacies most common folk could only dream of tasting. His stomach grumbled loudly, reminding him that he hadn't eaten all day. Then, the moment everyone had been waiting for arrived. The trumpets blared, followed by a deep drum roll to command the attention of the guests. "Ladies and gentlemen," the royal announcer declared, "His Majesty the King, and Her Majesty the Queen." The crowd bowed as the king and queen entered, their presence regal and commanding. Behind them followed the elder princes and their wives, each adorned in royal splendor. Finally, the most anticipated name was called. And now presenting His Royal Highness the youngest prince, Prince Erwin George V. The moment the name was spoken, Ivo froze. His breath caught in his throat as he watched a young, handsome man descend the grand marble staircase. It was George. Everything about him was exactly as Ivo remembered, except for the elegant royal garments that made him look more mature, and something else. Something missing. The luminance he once carried, the carefree joy, was gone. He looked thinner, burdened, like a man carrying a weight too heavy to bear. Ivo's heart pounded. He couldn't believe his eyes. Sadness wove through him like a cold mist. Prince Erwin walked slowly, his expression unreadable, his gaze lowered. The grand symphony played a perfect harmonious tune, yet there was something about his posture. Something sad, something hesitant. Then, before he could stop himself, Ivo gasped, "George." The name echoed loudly. The hall fell silent. All eyes turned toward the source of the voice. The king frowned. "Who is George?" Prince Erwin's entire body stiffened, as if he had been struck by lightning. His face paled, his breath hitched, and yet, for a brief moment, his eyes sparkled, as if hearing his true name again had awakened something in him. Ivo slapped a hand over his mouth, his heart pounding in terror. "What have I done?" The prince turned sharply in the direction of the voice, toward the curtain where Ivo was hiding. His gaze was filled with shock, but also something deeper, something unspoken. Ivo took a shaky step backward, panic surging through him. "I need to get out of here." But before he could move, his foot caught the edge of the curtain. The world tilted. "Reap!" The heavy velvet fabric collapsed, pulling Ivo down with it. Gasps filled the grand hall. The entire noble assembly turned toward the spectacle. Ivo lay sprawled on the marble floor, tangled in a mess of red velvet. Prince Erwin took a step forward, his eyes wide. "Ivo?" Someone in the crowd whispered, "Isn't that the strange boy who wanted to marry a prince?" Laughter erupted. The whispers spread like wildfire, turning into murmurs, then into quiet mockery. Ivo's face burned with humiliation. He looked up to see the sea of noble faces staring at him, some amused, some horrified, others disgusted. They were laughing at him, like he was the entertainment of the night. He scrambled to his feet, his eyes desperately searching for an exit. Then, a sharp voice cut through the laughter. "Who is this rat?" the king demanded. Ivo's heart clenched. Then, to his astonishment, Prince Erwin stepped forward. "His name is Ivo," he declared firmly, "and he is my best friend." Silence. Everyone now stared at the prince, not in amusement, but in disbelief, with hints of disapproval. Then, suddenly, Erwin ran after Ivo, his voice urgent. "Please, stop and listen." But Ivo, tears streaming down his face, didn't stop. "You lied to me," he shouted. "You lied to me." Prince Erwin panicked. "No, I didn't. I never did. I never wanted this ball, Ivo. I want to be with you." Ivo stopped. A confession. the words he had longed to hear. But instead of joy, confusion and anger swirled inside him. How could this be real? How could he have been so blind? The entire hall gasped. Someone muttered, "That's disgusting." Then, the Queen's voice rang out, sharp and commanding. "Who said that?" Silence. The eldest prince stepped forward, attempting to smooth over the situation. "Erwin, enough! Stop this joke!" But Erwin stood his ground. "This is not a joke," he said. "I have been spending my days with Ivo at the lake, behind the palace gardens. I never told him who I was, because I was afraid of this moment. But I will not hide any more." Ivo's breath hitched. Now, he understood. The lake had always been quiet because it was part of the royal gardens. He had unknowingly been spending time with the prince all along. "Please don't leave," Erwin begged. Then, he turned to face the crowd. "Ladies and gentlemen, I am sorry," he said. "This ball was never my idea. It was my father's. You can all leave now. I have no intention of finding a princess tonight. Not tonight. Not ever." "Stop!" Ivo's voice cracked. "Don't you understand? This is wrong." Prince Erwin's face fell. "Wrong?" His voice was barely above a whisper. Tears welled up in Ivo's eyes. "Wrong, like everyone says. Wrong, like I've been told my whole life. And I am wrong." The sound of laughter from the past echoed in his mind. The childhood teasing, the pointing fingers, the judgment that had chased him his entire life. He had to get away. Suddenly Tom was beside him, running after him. "Ivo, wait!" Back inside the ballroom, Prince Erwin stood on the grand staircase, his expression filled with sadness and frustration. Turning to face his father, he spoke with quiet defiance. "This is not wrong. This is love. Pure, without boundaries, without conditions. I want to be with him as much as you wanted to be with Mother. And unlike all these noble families, he never cared that I was a prince. That never mattered to him." Then, Erwin dropped to his knees, exhausted, burdened by the weight of it all. For the first time he allowed himself to be vulnerable. For the first time he had nothing left to hide.